my sweet friends. I hope you are all doing well. I'm so excited to be sharing day 2 of our 13 Days of Halloween series. Now, if you're just joining in, you can find the link for day 1 at the top of the description so you can get caught up. And don't forget to listen throughout the video for the question of the day. I have always tried to incorporate some type of loaded pocket into my holiday series, and we're going to do that today, but this time I'm putting a different spin on that. We're creating 2 pockets to fill, and then we're going to bring them together to create a 2-sided holder for our inserts. Now, this is pretty versatile. You can choose to fill them with tags and fill those with pictures and journaling and have that as a non-traditional style of scrapbook, or you could use one or both of the pockets to fill with treats. So there's a lot of different uses for this once you create the base. I'm going to use this spooky collection from scrapbook.com. I am really sad that I missed this in my haul video because I really like it. It was on the table and I was going through all the things and I just missed picking it up. But I do think it is really cute. The quality of the paper is nice and thick, and the print quality is very nice and clear. So definitely something you should consider if you enjoy a more upbeat, untraditional style of color palette. So there's pinks in here and yellows along with the oranges and black and white. So this is something to consider. It's a good amount of paper as well. So you could easily do mini albums or that type of thing because you get 5 sheets of each pattern. So there's still a lot of variety to work with, and it was a pretty good value. Also from scrapbook.com, you should consider getting a set of nested arches. So these are a set where I can choose cardstock and pattern, and that will create my borders. That just makes it a lot easier. And I think the one at scrapbook.com was a pretty good value for money, and so that would be one I would check out. The last thing I'm using for this project today is my set of stickers from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use a few of these more dimensional ones, and so these are going to be incorporated not only on the base but onto the inserts as well. I picked the largest size in my set of arches, and it is 4 1/4 wide. I'm picking a solid 110-pound cardstock to start with. I want to build in some structure and stability. So each one of the sides is going to have one of these, and we'll put them back to back. So for every step here I'm showing, I will create an additional one. So 2 of each, and then we'll bring them together for one project. So here is my sturdy base, and I'm bringing in that pink. This is going to be my border and also what I use to create the folded insert. And so here is just the cardstock that will be surrounding the pattern. And I just chose the nested set and picked one down so that I would get that nice detail going all the way around. So this is going to be the background, and I want to start building the dimension here with my pocket. And so I'm taking that same pink cardstock. I cut it to be 3 inches high by 6 1/4 wide. I scored it at 1/2 and 1, then 5 1/4 and 5 3/4. I turned it, I scored it at 1/2, and then at 1. So when we build this pocket, it will be 1/2 inch deep. Now you can see where my score lines intersect. I need to remove that whole corner on both sides. So just come in here with your scissors and cut very carefully right up to where that first set of lines intersect. So that whole corner has to come out. We'll do that on this side as well. Now I need to fold on my score lines. And I have already added my double-sided tape to this side here along the bottom and this side as well. So when I bring these together, I'll be able to secure them. And then these layers will be sandwiched in between the two sections. So I think it will be easiest to get this positioned correctly if I flip over this whole thing and bend up those flaps so that I know I've got it positioned exactly where I want. Then I'll bring in the sides and get that adhered so I have a good angle at the bottom. And then I'll just repeat that for this side as well. Now I'm going to slide that section out and remove the tape from the bottom so that I can flip this over and add it back to that pocket and adhere it exactly where I want it to be. So I'm just going to slide that in right along the bottom there and press that into place. Now I know that it will fit exactly the size that I need. I'm just going to bend that tape down temporarily while we continue to work along so that I won't stick my project to my work surface. So the next thing you want to add is a complementary pattern to the front. Not a lot of this is going to show, so I would recommend picking a smaller kind of all over pattern. And so I have done that and chose a very contrasting color to the background for the sake of it being a layering pattern. And this is cut to be 1 7/8 of an inch high and 4 1/8 of an inch wide. I'm just going to center that, and I might just pull that a little bit closer to me so I can see over top to make sure that I've got that positioned right where I want. And that's just set that down so I can press it onto my work surface. Now you need to have this filled with something, and here's where you're going to choose to put some treats in, maybe a pack of cocoa or hot cider and a cookie, or go ahead and use the inserts that I'm going to show. And I'm going to pick a variety of different sizes so that I can stack the layers and everything will be seen from the first look before you pull all the bits out. And then we're also going to add some trims that will extend beyond the top of this. So it looks like we've got all of this beautiful detail, and you can see most of it just from looking at the front. For the first tag that goes in the back, I'm just going to continue to utilize that nested set of dies, and I'm just working my way down in size so that I can get my layers. This is a larger tag, so I'm still going to go ahead and pick a 110-pound cardstock to sandwich between my pattern paper layers so that it will be very sturdy. And I'm going to go and use more of that super sweet candy corn. This is probably one of my favorite patterns from this whole collection. It is so bright and cheerful, and I'm pairing that with the B side of that paper, which is a sweet little check. And so this is going to be the front and the back. You can pick which side you want, obviously, for layering purposes, but I do want to have another pattern here just to fill up a little bit of that space, and you can do this as an option if you like. But I do think it will be fun to decorate the front of this tag and then add your pictures to the back. And so I'm just going to utilize this Recollections doily, and then I'll top that with one of the stickers from the Dollar Tree sticker sheet. So this is the dimensional ones, and I'm not going to utilize the flat ones for the purpose of creating the base, but probably could hang on to them and incorporate them into your pictures if you're using this as a memory keeping system so that you can add the details and the bits and pieces on top of that. So here is the first tag. For the next insert, this is going to be a little smaller, so I think we can skip that sturdy core in the middle and go right to our cardstock color here. And then we'll just go ahead and tap that with our pattern paper. And obviously you want to cover both sides, or you could leave one side empty and add some journaling right onto that because there is no pattern there. But I just really like to incorporate all of those different choices here. Now I do want a layering pattern for this one as well. And so I'm just going to add that right to the bottom. This one doesn't get a doily because it's too small, but I will incorporate one of the cut apart images. So that paper pad did have the 2x2 cut aparts. And so I just cut that and then I added a border of the cardstock for the purpose of layering and just going to put that on top. Now we can still add a little bit of extra detail. And because our cardstock is pink, I thought a pink glitter paper would be fun to die cut some stars. So I'll just go ahead and hot glue that on. And you see I'm just kind of going over the layers here so that I get a lot of extra detail. So this would be our second insert. I'm going to move on now to the folded insert, and we're going to go right back to that pink cardstock. It is 3 3/4 of an inch high by 8 inches wide, and I scored that at 4 inches. So we have this cute little folded insert. I'm going to add my pattern paper to the front and the back and the inside as well. So here's my pattern, and the measurement for this will be 3 5/8 by 3 7/8. We'll just get that border of the pink cardstock showing. This folded insert will be plenty of space to add 3 different pictures. So when you start adding up all the different surfaces, you will potentially have at least 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pictures to add to this. There will be additional room in that pocket if you want to include some other items that you don't want to adhere to anything. So a little bit of room for flexibility there. And this paper on the inside is fairly low contrasting, so journaling could be added to this as well. You could write directly onto that paper. Let's decorate the front. We'll go back to that doily that we use, the Recollections doily. Now, when I cut my paper for the other side to prepare to add to this one, I was not being as careful about keeping in mind the orientation of the pattern. And so I had to layer a couple different patterns to cover what would not have been enough space because I had to turn the pattern and then it was upside down. So keep in mind that you do want to be aware of that as you're working along. And you also want to be aware of where you can put spacers. So I added the spacer to this one, and there was space between that sticker, but you don't want to go crazy with that to begin with because you do want room in that pocket for all the finishing details. So make sure that you're just being careful where you put those. So I'm just going to set this in place temporarily and bring in another star. And for this one, because this is dimensional, I want to add the star to the base. And so I can see exactly where I want to position that. And then I'll just tap this image into place. Now remember I said that I wanted to incorporate some trims onto these tags, and I do also want to incorporate all the colors. So I'm using pink and orange and black. So I picked those 3 different color palettes so that I could incorporate that throughout, and it will fill in the front of this pocket. So I'm just going to go ahead and work on these now, and it's a good time for the question of the day. So if you decorate your home for Halloween, when do you begin adding all of the holiday decor? So as many of you know, the Army Sun is stationed in Kansas, and the tech hubby works for the school district. So if we want to get to see him before the start of the school year, we have to go pretty much on Labor Day weekend. And so whenever we get back from that road trip, it is my birthday. And so I have decided that decorating on my birthday is a good plan. And so that is when I start September 8th. If you decorate, let me know when you start putting out all your decor in the description below. So I am just alternating these patterns. As I mentioned, the first one I put on a paper clip and I just tied that trim on there and clipped it to the front. For this one, I've got my beautiful chevron ribbon. These are all from Really Reasonable Ribbon, by the way. And so this one is going to be just added with my tiny attacher. See, I've bent it over onto itself, and then I can come in and tack that into place with my tiny attacher. Then I do want to cover that staple with a button. And then the larger tag is going to get this bold check, and that kind of works right along with the black that I have added to the bottom of the tag. And I'll just add that again with the tiny attacher. So those are the inserts that I have for one side of this holder. Remember, there's two, so I have already created another set that is fairly similar, just a little bit different stickers and images for that. Now remember, we have two sides and I need to adhere them to each other to create that two-sided folder. And I did add my double-sided tape to the top here, but remember that we did add our pocket onto that. So I'll pull the tape backing from what is already here, and then I'll add a little bit more to the bottom of the pocket that we covered in the cardstock. So this is a good time for our 2 glue combo, and I'll just add this here. The double-sided tape will keep that in place while the glue sets up. Then I'll just set this on my work surface here and then bring these two together. And that should be pretty easy to line up because they were cut from that die cut. And so I know that they will be exact matches. So I'll just kind of work my hand down in there so that I can press those back pieces together and get a really good contact. So we have the same for each side. I do want to incorporate more of those stickers, so I have added them to a scrap piece of paper so that I could cut around, and that way I won't have anything sticky showing on the back that could get stuck on the inserts. And I've also created a very small compact flower arrangement. There are pink and orange flowers to coordinate with our palette here. I have a little bit of netting, some die cut leaves. This time I'm just using gray instead of green just to kind of go better with this theme, and then twine bow and more of that chevron ribbon. And so this is going to go right here on the front, and I'll just place these flowers so that I know exactly where I want my sticker to go. Just position that on here and attach that with hot glue. Then I'll finish that off with my flowers. I'm just keeping all the little fragile bits in from the outside so they don't hang over. Now remember, we have two sides of this box, so let's do the same thing for this side as well. And I just created the exact same arrangements with the exact same supplies. This is a different sticker, but it was still from that sticker sheet. Doing that so that it will extend beyond the top of the pocket. And then I can layer my flowers over top. Just pressing from the inside of that pocket so that I don't accidentally squish it in the process of adhering that. So let's go ahead and add our tags. Now we have created these on screen. And so we'll fill this up. You see how it's going to work down and show all of those fun layers. So this one will go all the way over to the left. And now you can see we've stacked our trims. And then here is our folded insert going right in there and you can see how those trims work and how all of those layers will show together. Let's go ahead and add the ones for this side as well. And like I mentioned, I just have the same measurements in the same process, and these stack up so well. Here is the tag that I had to join those patterns together, but that's okay. It just looks pretty cute anyway. And then I'll tuck that in there. And you see there's just a little bit of room left for adding your additional finishing details. And then this will be super sweet. So here is our two-sided arch top loaded pocket. Ooh, that is a mouthful. Okay, that's it for day 2. Make sure you come back tomorrow to join us for day 3. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, let me know in the comments and give me a big thumbs up for this video. I will leave links in the description to the products I mentioned, as well as all our socials in the description. And if you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe and join my crafty little family. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.